In this video, we are going to design a mobile app screen from start to finish, and I'm going to walk you through getting all the assets that you would need to design this product at the end of the day. So let's start from the top. We have this status bar which is at the top, and we want to get it. So I'm just going to get rid of it for now, and then I would go into the community. So if I bring back my UI using command and the slash next to the letter P, I can access it from here. If I'm using the web, if you scroll down from the resource icon, you would find the community here. If you're using the app, you can simply click on this word icon and it will take you straight into the community. Now on the community, I want to search for iOS design because what I'm designing is an iOS screen and not an Android screen. So what I'll do is I'll go to the search bar, and I already have the file here, but I don't want to duplicate it multiple times. That's why I have it opened. Just type in iOS and you're going to find it amongst the top ones. So you can see it here. It's been duplicated or used by 320,000 people. And this was uploaded by Apple itself. All right, so if you come down here to the preview panel, which is over here, you can find this page which would show you everything inside. All you need to do is come over to this button, open in Figma. Now when you come into the file, you just need to look for that status. So once you find it, select it, copy it, Ctrl C, and go back to your file, select your file and paste it in there. Now you need to take note of the size of your file. This is 390. I'm using the frame iPhone 14, so let's do that again. I'll go to frame and I'm going to select iPhone 13 and 14. Click on it. The width of this frame is 390. That is the width, and you don't need to bother about the height. All right, so now that we've established that, you now know that this is 390. So select the status bar. You're going to see that it's 393. Just change that to 390, and that is final. Click center aligned and top aligned, and that is it. Now we have the status bar. We now need to tackle the main content of this design. Now the screen for WhatsApp is divided into several sections, and the way we design is in boxes. So you're going to find at the top we have several actions the user can take, like taking a photo, asking Meta, or even adding new groups. And then there's like more icon by the side which allows the user to delete or select multiple charts at the same time. Below we have the title, which is chart. We have ask Meta, and then we also have other functions. We're going to start from the top, which is the area that has the actions. But first we need our grid. So I'm going to select, we already have an existing grid that I used initially for some project with this same frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that, click on grid, and then click on this more setting, which is layout grid settings. Click on it and choose columns. Now we're going to change that to 4, and then for the gutter we're going to make the gutter 16, and for the margin, which is the left and right ends, we want to make that 20. You can make that up to 30 depending on the product you're working on. You can make it even more if you like things being away from the margin. If you make it 40, then you're going beyond the numbers. Don't go, if you take my advice, don't go beyond 24. So once it's at 24, that's also fine, but for me I love to stay within 16 and 20. Now that we've established the grid, we need to go into the next thing, and for this we will not be creating a style guide because we are currently exploring. When you've established some factors, like the way you would want to do this is to, if you're recreating, then you want to establish those style guides by each element you design. So for instance, if I give it a title, which we have as charts, I would then create a style guide for this chart and give it a header title. All right, so that's how you create for existing, that's how you create your style guide for existing designs that you're recreating. But if you're working on your own designs, you can also do it this way. I do it this way, I'll be honest with you. And then while you're working on it, you're creating new style guides, you're adding things to your components and so on. Now we have charts. We can now move into the other things. I'm going to get out my icon bank. So I use multiple icon banks. There's huge icons, there's Iconify, there is material symbol. For this design, I'm going to be using material symbol because some of the icons I'll need will be found on this platform. So we have material symbol. I would choose rounded because WhatsApp is a social media app and you want things to be really friendly. You don't want sharp edge. You want things really rounded. It communicates an idea of this brand is friendly. So since we have this now, we can go into search and we're going to search for the first icon, which is add. And that's the icon that allows you create multiple groups. Even though it looks more like it's an icon for you to add an image or a file or something, but there's no touch point, there's no entry point. So the major thing you can do here is to obviously add a group or send a message to someone. So we're going to put it here, but I'm going to do something different with this. So I would leave it in here. Anytime you click on a new icon and you're trying to position it and you're not seeing the grid red line, that means this icon is outside this frame. If I select this frame and move it, you're going to see that the icon is obviously outside the frame. So what you can do is just drag it out and bring it back in. And when you drag it out, free your hand and then drag it back in. And that's how you can have that icon. Now we have the first icon. The next icon we want is the photo icon. This is where it allows you know that you can not add an attachment. Actually, you can take a photo. All right, so once I click on the photo icon, I can snap a photo and then I can upload it to my status or send it to someone. So I'm going to type in photo, and the photo that WhatsApp have used is the photo that has a feel. It's not a stroke like photo, even though most of the icons on the app has the stroke, but you can see that they're coming with the feel from the active states of the icons in the navigation bar. So you have to pay attention to these little details while working on a project for any brand or while recreating anything you're doing. All right, so we have the photo. We're not seeing it, so I'm going to type in camera because I want to see it at the top. So I have several icons here. So what we're going to do now is, you see where we have fill, I'm going to change that fill to on, and that will change all of these icons to a fill icon, not a stroke icon. And once we have this, we can now look for that photo icon. It's around here. This is it. All right, it has changed. The reason why it changed our icon that was here is because it's selected. Now, why using this icon bank? If you try to select anything, if you bring out an icon and you try to change it, it would replace that icon if it's still selected. So if I click this, it replaces the icon that was there because it's from the same icon bank. If it's from another icon bank, obviously it won't do the same. And then if you've changed it to an instance, to a component instead, you will not be able to change it with this format. All right, so get that clear. All right, the next thing we need to do now is get out the next icon, which is the more icon, because we can't get out the meta icon from here. So we're going to type in more. If you type in more, you're going to find the icon here, and for mobile we always use this one, and you can see that has happened again. All right, let's duplicate this and then we'll click on that again, and we'll try to see what other icons would need. We're going to need a pin icon. So let's see if we can find one. Yes, we found one, but the one on WhatsApp is slanted. So for now, we'll just utilize this. We may not really use it. And then we also have an archive icon. Let's check if we're going to find this. You can skip all of this part if you already know how to find these icons. I think this is more appropriate. So we're going to use this, send that out, bring it back in. And what I'm going to do is duplicate this 5 times. That's it. So selecting one, I'll look for settings. So let's see if we'll find settings. And this is the one we're going to use for this. Select the next one and we're going to check for charts. These 5 icons will be for the footer area where we're going to have the navigation bar, and then we'll have these 3 for the top area. I'll just move them out for now. Then let's scan and see if there's anyone missing. We're going to take a different approach. Now WhatsApp has done their own stuff. We're going to try to do ours. Now what I'm going to do first is this add. I'm going to type in a text this is going to be new. I'll pair it up with this add. Let's change that to 14. And I'm using Inter. You can use whichever font you want to use. And then selecting both of them, I would give them, I've put it on auto layout. So I'm going to give it like some spacing. Let me bring out the stroke so you can see what I'm doing. And then with that spacing, I'm able to give it a height of 4, which would give me 32 in height. And I'm going to use 8 in width. But now this is the difference. Now you see when I touch this, it's not touching part of the icon. And the text is also touching the last word or the last letter on the text. You want to fix this sometimes, and sometimes you want to leave it. Now to fix it, click on individual padding, and you're going to see the left hand side, this one. So we're going to reduce that, and we reduce it, you're not going to get it correctly. All right, so one step you can take is bringing out the arrow. To bring out the ruler, not the arrow, you're going to click on Shift plus arrow on your keyboard, Shift plus arrow. You're going to get out the rulers at the top. We'll select this and try to do this again. You're going to see where it stops. So you want to zoom into that to see where it stops. That is exactly here. So I'm going to drag a ruler and place it there and test that again, if that is the position exactly where we want it to be. Now if we select this and break the corners, we're going to reduce this, and you see it coming, and there is exactly where we want it to be. We can just make it 4 and then round this completely. Now that we have this, we want to work on this one. We're going to make it 20. Yes, perfect. And then you know what, let's send that back to 8. Yes, give it a fill color, and we're just going to leave it like this for now. You can right click on the grid line and remove it. Now that we have this, we can take this up a bit, about 15, let's say 16 steps away from the status bar, and then we're going to work on these other guys. Now to fix these other guys is pretty tricky, because now we need to know which element here is more important. I'm going to eliminate this one. I'll just keep it by the side for now, because I feel like everybody can access this from their DMs, and I never get to actually click on the photo icon. I know some other persons may be clicking on it, and let me test how that works. I take a picture, and where do I send it to? And then it shows me a bunch of things to do. I know it's pretty straightforward, but I'll prefer to search for the person's DM I want to send this to, and then take the picture prior to opening WhatsApp, or take the picture in their DM and then share it to them. Take the picture in a group, share it in the group. I don't want to take something and make a mistake while sharing that stuff, or take the picture and then I didn't kind of I'm trying to send it to a specific person, and then I end up sending it to someone else that I have to. It's pretty tricky. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate it. So we'll delete. Now that we have that out of the way, we're left with this icon, which can allow us place it better on this line. Now this is 32, this is 30 in height. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw a frame which would be 30 in width and height, and I'll completely round that. Let's give it a radius that is completely rounded, and I'm going to grab this more icon, cut it and paste it in here. Center it horizontally and vertically, and we're going to just leave it as this for now. We're going to eliminate this. We're going to also eliminate this. We have the chart. Going to type in the chart, and we have the chart here. This chart will be 24. We'll constrain it to the left, right? And I would make this, let's try semi-bold. Now we have this. We can now select this, duplicate it, bring it down here, which will now be the new form if you check your WhatsApp, currently we have some new actions where you can filter between unread messages and the groups, and then you have all. So we're going to use this. We'll change the text first to all, and this is a medium, and we'll extend this a bit, make it 12. Let's make that 12. We'll select this, move it out 2 times. This is going to be unread or unread, and then this is going to be groups. Select all 3 of them, put them in auto layout. You can either click here or use Shift+A, and we have this. Now that we have all of this, I've just give them a distance of 8 to give it like a double, a 16 divided by 2, instead of using like an odd number that I don't like. So it's either I'm using 4, 8, 16, 12, or 24, 32, 36, you know, I count in 4s and 8s. Now that we have all of this, obviously one has to be primary, so we're going to just make this one gray for now. We'll come back to it later on. You know what, let's do that now. So for these 2, we're going to make them gray. I'll try out F4, 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 and I'll remove the stroke. I'll also make this one primary. Now that WhatsApp uses green, I don't have the green here, so let's try Iconify. Once the Iconify plugin is up, I'll type in WhatsApp, and this is where I can easily find the color. So I'll drag this into my workspace, and I have this green, which I feel like it's quite brighter than the actual color, but it's a gradient. So what I'm going to do is select this, select the darker shade, copy that, and that is honestly what we want. Now select this, get rid of it, select this one, and paste that color in there. Remove the stroke, and then I would make this all white. This looks quite off, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the spacing on this other end to 12. That's on the right hand side, and this should feel more balanced. Right, now that we have this, I'm going to select this one, and I will choose this gray, remove the stroke, and then if I select the background, I'm going to change this color to the black side, and that's it. And then with this, we can now have an inversion of this one. We can't make this one green. We don't want everything looking greenish on this page. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the background to this color. I'm going to change the black also to that same color. And then for the background, I want to reduce that to 10% for now to see what that looks like. You know what, let's do 20%. And then for the text, we'll drag it a bit downwards to the darker side. Yes, for now. And then these other 2, because they are not active states, we want to change this to a secondary color. I'm using 6A, 6A, 6A. And then for the other one, which is the background, the container, I'm using F4, F4, F4 for some of you that may want to follow along. And then for the container, which is this one, I'm using 1FAF38. And that's it. We have that, but we're not done yet. All right, because this is going to be below, and then we're going to have like a search bar, which would be somewhere around here. So what we can do with this now is stretch it to the end. You can do this in several ways. Either you stretch it, or you put everything in an auto layout, and then you use fill at the top here. But I'll show you how that works very shortly. So over here, we're going to type in search. Since WhatsApp has a new AI, we're going to type ask Meta AI or search. So this is WhatsApp communicating that you can either ask AI or you can search in this same box. So we'll change this to 8. That's the radius. And then we'll increase the height a bit. Let's try 6. I'll try Iconify. If I'll be able to find Meta, someone must have done that. Press enter. And yeah, we found Meta, but we found the other Meta. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to use this. And then I would reduce the size of this to 24. No, let's make that 16. Cut that, select this, paste it in there, send it to the left, and then we're going to make this a spacing of, let's try 8 for now. Center everything, and then for this one we want to ensure that it's fill container, and then align right. Now we have this, perfect. So select this and this, put it in auto layout, and we're going to make that distance between them 16. For now, we might adjust this later on. Let's drag this downwards a bit. We will now want to work on the main text body. First things first, I'm going to drag this out, and this is going to be 44 for the image. Give it a stroke for now, and then make the radius 100. Now that we have this, we're going to grab one of these texts, duplicate it. This is going to be the subtext, and we're going to have the header, which is going to be for the name. Right, select both of them, align right instead of centered. Select this one and give it the black. Let's see what code is that. Let's use some other one, 040303. That's the color for the black we're using. And then we'll select both of them, put them in auto layout, constrain them to the left. Right, that's what you want to do. And then the space between them will be 4 for now. Let's press enter and see what spacing we have here. We would have to reduce this from 22. Let's use 18 in height, the line height of the text. That way we have this, and this looks good. Right, now I will stretch this to this point, somewhere around here, because we're going to introduce something to this page. Now we're going to introduce two things. I will duplicate this first off, constrain this to the left, to the right, and then if I press enter, I can constrain this to the right as well. With this, I would change it to hug content at the top so that it hugs the entire content. And then this one below, I'm going to change it to the time now, which is 18:44 p.m. and that would obviously be 12 because it's going to be smaller. Now this will be constrained to the right, so let's constrain that to the right using the constraints. And then this is where we need the badges. The badge shows the total number of messages you've received in a specific DM between a user. Go back to the community, and then we're going to search for Android version of this template of the component, because I've gone through the iOS component file and we don't have the badge there. So we're going to type in material. Material is mainly for Android, so you're going to find it here and it's mostly used. So we'll double tap on this one. I already have this file, but I wouldn't want to open the section where we have it. And when you go to components, you're going to find a table of content, and then we can go to badges. With that, we're going to find these badges, and all you have to do is just select one. We're going to select this one for the light mode. Go back to our file, select this, and then paste it in there. That's all. Now we'll select the name at the top, get rid of it. We don't need that anymore. We're not going to reduce the size of this. The size is 16 by 16. We're going to retain that. Select this and this, put it in auto layout. Select this and this, put it in auto layout. These two, we're going to change their distance to auto. And that's it, auto. And then we'll select this one and obviously make that fill. And that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. For this one, we're going to make it 16. And that is also perfect. We'll ensure that it's touching end to end. And then this is what we're going to do. To fix this, there's something I want to do here. I want to do something quite different from what WhatsApp already have. So I'm going to select this, duplicate it downwards, select both of them, put them in auto layout. The distance between both of them will be 25. Select it, go to the space in between, and we're going to type in 25. Now I'm going to go up here where it says hog, which is a resizing, horizontal resizing. I'll change that to fixed width. Now what I mean by fixed width is I don't want anything I would do in regards to changing the auto layout panel to make this content container go beyond where it is. So to test that that is working, we're going to give this a stroke color. Now, if whatever we do would ensure that this element does not shoot beyond this width. So we've said, okay, we want the gate of our house to be from this point to this point. So no matter how you drive or try to hit the wall, nothing would make that gate go beyond that. That's what we mean by fixed content, and it can be seen at the top. Fixed width. We also have fixed height, meaning that if I give this a fixed height, whatever I do would stay within that frame. But if it was in hog content, if I try to do that, you see the stroke that I gave moves alongside with what I'm doing. Now we want the height obviously to move, so we'll change that to 16, and then the width we also want to change that to 16. But you can notice that something is happening inside. Our content is going outside, and if we had done clip content, you'll see that we're not even seeing our content anymore. So you can leave it at clip content or open, whichever one works for you is fine. I'm just going to leave it open so you can see what I'm doing. And then what I'm going to do now is simply press enter. You can either press enter or select the items one by one. So what I mean by one is you double tap, select this, hold shift, select this one. You've selected both of them. But if I had like 100 files in here and I wanted to do the same thing I want to do now to all of them, the only thing I'm going to do is just press enter. Once I select the container, the main container, I'll press enter. It will select every single list item within that container. And then what I can now do is go up here to where it says hog, and I'll change that to fill container. Yes, I know nothing worked. And then I'll press another enter, and this is what I'm going to do now, fill container. All right, so you don't want to do that. Don't select an icon or a shape to do your fill container. So what I'm going to do is deselect this both shape, and then we're going to try that again, fill container, and it fixes it. Now whatever we do, if we reduce this, it would now be responsive. You can see that it flows alongside what we've done, and that is exactly what we want to achieve. We'll place this accordingly on this grid, which is confirmed. 350 is the width, and we have that. Now we can duplicate this multiple times, but first let's fix one. Give this a fill color, remove the stroke, and we'll just give this a gray color like this. Now we just hide the grid for now so we can see what we're doing, because we fixed up more the major things we want to fix up. Select this one, the black, give that gray. Select this one. I think I'll make this 4, not that. This was the one I wanted to make 12. Yes. Perfect. Constraint to the right, center aligned. Select this, hide. Right, so we're going to select this and this, put them in auto layout. We're going to change the distance between them to auto, and that is perfect, and it's fixed. We'll select this tool, then auto layout. Would soon work on desktop, but for now let's fix up this other one. Now what we want to do here is give this an actual name, so I'm going to type in mine because she's mine, and I'm going to type in a text, but this text will not be 14. We're going to make that 12. So with this, we're going to select both of them and change it from hog to fill container, so it fills up the entire container. And now if we try to like do this, it's now responsive. Right, we can also do the same to this one by changing it to fill container, but there's no need because we would always need it to be this way. Whichever way we reduce the frame or anything, we always want the time to be the same, so it's always going to be in hog. Now that we have this, we'll select this entire frame, make it center aligned, select this one, make it center aligned, right? And that's all we need to do. Now we're going to select this, maybe type in a text. Have you gotten the gift I mailed? Right, perfect. Now we'll select this one because you don't need to create it again. You know, we don't have to start making the same adjustment on the second one. That's why you need to pay attention to creating components while you work. So first things first, I'm going to change this from medium to semi bold, and this one is going to be medium, which I feel they used regular, but I don't like using regular, so I'm going to leave it at medium. And then what I'm going to do now is select the first one, duplicate it, and then get rid of the second one. With that, you can duplicate this as much as you want. All right, so let's just duplicate that. We're going to create multiple duplicates of that. Yes, that's what I want to do. And then select this. I'm going to round the radius. I'll make that 16. Yes. Bring this up a bit. Now I'm going to try to, I think this would be much better if it's 28. Let's try that. This one, let's make that 8 and see. I feel like the touch point is, it's not going to work because the user may try to click on search, and every time their thumb may hit either of these ones. So that spacing in between would work really well. All right, we have this. We can now try to align the spacing. The spacing between this is 16. Spacing between these two is 21. I would make that 24. And then with this one and this one selected, I'll also make that, let's try 24 and see. Okay, this one and this one, I'm going to make that 24 as well. Yes, at least the user can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of their messages. And we have this. All right, charts. Let's change this chart to bold. Change the distance or the resizing to fill container. This one we will not change it to fill container. We can do that, but don't do that for the items themselves. They should be hogged. All right, we'll select all three of them. We see they are down aligned. Let's center them. That's perfect. Right, we're heading somewhere. So we'll select this. Let's work on the footer. There's something I want to show you about the profile image, but let's work on the footer first. So we're going to go to the footer and we're going to grab one of these text. This is 12. We'll make it 10. And then each of these is going to have titles, just the way WhatsApp has done it. We have updates. Just double tap here, it would close it out or make it hog content. Select one and just put them in auto layout. The icon is 24, leave it at 24. Some people even use up to 32, but don't use 32. Use 24. You can still learn about the best practices by going to the website You can learn about the best practices by going to the website developer.apple.com. Yes, that's the website for iOS designs, and you would get some of the answers for this. All right, now that we have this, we want to ensure that one of it is in the primary state. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change one of it to the primary state, but first let us have all of this well aligned. So I'll move this out, and then the distance between the text and the icon would be 4 for now, and the height is 46. So we'll duplicate that 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Select each of them. Select this. You're going to press Control plus Shift and arrow, or Command plus Shift plus arrow. We'll cut this and do the same thing. Usually you would drag it in and then you select this and then you delete, or you would select this, cut it, select the frame, paste, send it to the top, select this, delete. That time is gone. Now you can just select it, copy, select another one, paste, and that is exactly how you can do this. Now let's give this a title. So this is going to be settings, and then this is going to be communities, charts, calls, updates. Okay, select all of it. You can now put them in auto layout, but first, if we don't put them if we don't do them the way I want to show you, we're going to have something that will look more like this. Because if I put this in auto layout, you can see the distance between here and here is not the same, and here. We just have irregular distances between these elements, and that is not what you want to achieve. Now you can achieve this by doing something very simple. If we select this and we make this 390 in width, and we select all of this and make them auto, we're going to have this. All right, this works, but the issue is that it still gives you the same result. You can see that the distance between this and the width of this is 63 and the width of this is 40. The width of this is even lesser, 29, and I think this is lesser, 28, and this obviously will be bigger than them, which would give you irregular spacing. If I select this out of auto, you're going to see that they have different spacing, and this is not what we want to achieve. So what can we do? And that's the question. Now all you have to do is press enter. First things first, know the width of this. This is 63, so I'm just going to select it, press enter, go to the width, which is going to show you mixed because it has different sizes. That's why it's showing you mixed. If all of them were the same size, it will give you the actual size that they have. It's giving you the actual height because all of them have the same height. Now we checked in communities, it was 63 in width. Now we're going to make all of them 64, so we're going to type in 64, press enter, and you see what happened. We now have something fixed. Now if I close all of this, if I hide this, you're going to know that it is fixed, and that is exactly what you want to achieve. We'll select this and give it a color white. All right, and then you can give it a stroke to see what you're doing. We'll give it a height of, let's say, 12, and then we're going to also give it a width. The width is going to be, which is the horizontal padding, is going to be the width of your frame, which is 20. Remember the distance between the here and the here. If you want to remember it, hold Alt, select one of the frame inside, hold Alt, and you're going to see 20 at the side. All right, now we have this, and that is what we want. We'll bring it into our frame, center it horizontally and vertically, send it to the down part, and then now what we want to do is add our home indicator, which is this little guy here. Select the both of them, remove the stroke for now, and then give them auto layout. Then we'll change the distance between them obviously to 0, and then with that send it back downwards. You can also find this home indicator inside the iOS design file. You can find it here. You can take it from the light mode, this one. You can find it here and then just calculate the distance. Another way I do this is to actually go into my phone, and I will take a screenshot of one of the apps that has this to calculate the distance. So if you're not sure of the distance, so sometimes people use 8, sometimes you see 6, but just know that the developers will not do this. It's going to be there in the mobile phone, so it's just you giving them a guide of this is the main one you want to focus on. So we have all of this. We're going to change their color to the secondary color. That is what we want to achieve. We're in the chart page, so I'm going to select this chart. I think the chart, I honestly feel like the chart should be centralized because it's like one of the most things we tap on, and we don't want it to be far off from the thumb. So it's either the chart is here or here, but we know that settings is always at the end here. So what I'll do is I'll bring chart to the center, updates here, because we usually go to updates. Most people don't make calls as much as they go to updates, but these are all assumptions. We can test this, as my people would say. But yeah, at the middle I'm going to have the chart, and I'm going to change that to the secondary state. On WhatsApp they have it as black, so let's maintain that. But first things first, let's go up into our material symbol, because we're going to change it to the way WhatsApp has it. So we'll change it from off in the fill to on, and that's it. Now we can select this other uncool and give it the black that we use, and that's that. Let's see, that looks clean in my books. So we'll select this, this frame, we want to give it a blurry effect, and just like the way when you scroll on your file on your phone rather, you're going to see that some of this under the under some shapes you can still see what is going under it, but very minimal. So what we're going to do to achieve this is we're going to give this a color, but they have a color, so we're going to select both of the colors and remove them. All right, select this now and just give it one regular color. That way we can make this very functional. We make this 90. Obviously you don't want it looking like this. You can see what is under. It's distracting the user. So what we're going to do is go to effect. It will show you drop shadow. Click on the drop down and just choose background blur. Now you can already see the blur functioning. So if I go up here, I will just change that to 8, and that's that. We're done with it. But one more thing, select it and give it a stroke, because you want to create a kind of demarcation. Let the user know that, oh, this is where this navigation stops, and there's like a content there that is blocking this. Now if we leave it this way, you're going to see that it would distract the user. Obviously we want to make this very minimal by using a very light gray, but to achieve this we also want to ensure that the lines are not showing within, because when you look at the lines in your app, you're going to discover that the lines only show up at the top, and most people would bring a line. That's what I used to do initially. I'll just draw a line and put it at the top, but that wasn't the case. So what you can do for this is come up here where it says stroke and change the stroke from inside to outside. But I will not change that to outside yet until I discuss this with you. Like, why do we make it outside instead of inside? The reason is, if we increase the weight of this stroke when it's inside, you can see that the stroke increases from inside. But if we select outside, you can see that we don't see any part of it except the top, and that's what you want to achieve. You want this to increase and decrease from outside. That way it will hide all 3 points of this shape or this container and maintain only the one at the top, which is going to be visible, because there's no demarcation at the top of this screen, but there's an endpoint at the bottom of the screen. There's an endpoint on the left and the right, but there's no endpoint at the top because you're selecting this container. If you do it on the entire frame, obviously it will not be the same result. So we'll select this and make that 1. This looks good, but we need to fix something. Gray. So we'll go back and choose a lighter gray. I don't think this, yes, this one, and then you change that to 30%. You can either change it to 30% or you can look for this particular gray. Now to do that is very simple. I'm going to copy this color, and then I'll draw a white, and then I'll draw another shape and give it that color. We're going to type in 50 from here, not from the top. This is the master opacity, and then from here let's use 20 or 30. Let me see 20 and see how grayish it goes. Yes, and then you're going to select the eyedropper tool and select the same one. That's the magic. It sends that to 100%. Now that we have this achieved, I'm just going to copy that color code, select it, come back here, change this back to 100. All right, and then I would go to the color, select that and paste in that new color code, and that's it. Gray. The gray is solved. I'm going to change the background color. So that was my initial idea, but now we have all of this gray. If I change the background color, it's going to look somehow. It's going to give me a good effect for this card, and this is what I'm talking about. If I make this that same gray for the background and I give this white, you see this white pops, but this gray has taken over everything. So we don't want to have an app looking this way. It's looking pretty weird. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do now? I'll change this back to white, select this, and I think I would have to go the way of WhatsApp. So I'll change this to 0, change the horizontal and vertical padding to 0, change the radius to 0, and this is basically what we're going to have. Now there's something we need to do. I'm going to make this, instead of giving it this white, I'm going to make that a gray color. Now I want to teach people something. You're going to thank me for this one. Now you see those lines that we have in between the item that you don't want to showcase those lines. You don't want to have to create the lines yourself. Every time you duplicate one list item, you have to duplicate the line. To solve this, all I'll do is select this frame, press enter to select the entire stuff. You can see the entire stuff I'm talking about, all the list item. And then what I'm going to do is give them white. Now already you can see that has already started happening, but we cannot have this obviously, and we cannot put this at 1. All right, it looks really bad. So what we're going to do is select it, press enter. We're going to change the height of each of those list items to somewhere around 16. Let's use 16 and see what that looks like. Okay, we have this. Instead of using 1, let's use 0.5. And there we have it. Let's delete these horizontal guides that we had. There we have it. There we have it. Now this one seems afar off from this, so I'm going to select both of them and probably just change this to 0. No, not 0. Let's use 16. Yes. So select this and this. This is 24 and this is 16. So these two together with this 16, and we probably would love to send this up a bit. So let me try 8. All right, and that's it. But one final thing, I want to show you guys how we can add different images to these circles, and not just adding the images, but ensuring that we're able to change the backgrounds of all of them. There might be cases you want to use this, and this is where I introduce you to the sponsor of this video. The sponsor of today's video is Wondershare Uni Converter. Now with Wondershare, you can do so much. You can convert your videos, images, and audios. You can download music and videos from over 10,000 video sites, compress files, whichever one you want. And they have so many products. They've also utilized AI to make our productivity even better. One of the key ones I would like to explore today is the AI thumbnail maker. To use this, click on it and you're going to find different styles. Now for this, I'm going to use the mail, and I'm just going to type in over here. I'm going to copy this as well, and I'm going to type in a mail in the studio and click generate, and in few seconds it will generate and you can go ahead to download the file. I'm going to be using the text to speech. I'm going to paste this and then just click on generate. In few seconds that generates. Click on it. There are several other products. Once you click on this arrow, you're going to find them over here. The one we want to use for this video is the background remover, and it's under AI lab. If you click on it, you can now upload your image here by dragging it in, and you can click on start, and that works effortless. I'm going to stop it here, but you can use the link in the description to explore more on Wondershare's products and just enjoy ease and increase your productivity. Now let's head back to Figma. Now once you're done in Wondershare removing the backgrounds of the images, all you need to do is go back to your file, grab that image which is over here. I'll just copy it, bring it back into my file and paste. It becomes very large, so you can even see that the design at the background is there. So all we need to do is just reduce the size of this. All right, I would zoom into this screen, would select this, I would open up my property, and I would just scale this to have the same width and height. I'll do the same from this angle, the width, and that is perfect. 221 by 221, and that's what we want. Now remember that this shape was 44, so what we're going to do now is select this guy, and from here we can adjust it to have something like 36. All right, I think that looks good. I will cut it with Control X, X for X-Rail, and I'm going to paste it into just one of these for now. All right, and I would center it horizontally and below. You can zoom into that and check that it cuts everywhere. This is cool. This is actually cool. All right, maybe bring it up by 38. This is also cool. All right, now that we have this, we can now start splashing colors. But remember that these badge colors have a green. They follow the same system color branding for WhatsApp. So we're going to just select this color, copy it from here. I'll copy that, click and press Ctrl C on your keyboard, select the entire frame. You're going to see that red here, system error color. I'm going to look for it, select it and paste that color in there. It's going to change these colors. All right, now that we have that, we can unify some of these colors. Remember, I think we created we didn't create color style. If you want to know how to create color style, I'll link a video to this video. You can watch it later. All right, so since we have this now, I would try to like unify some of these black colors. I don't like having these many black colors, so I'm just going to break all of them, even the white, the error, all of them. Now we have 15 colors lined up. I'll select this, paste that color in, select this one, paste that color in. The white can obviously be 1. We have a 90% white. We have this blue, which is this, all those blue you see here are for this logo. We have this, we have this darker one, which is on this. We have the white, the secondary color, and some other ones. The other ones you're seeing, like this one, is the background color for the images. Right, so now that we have established one of the image, let's paste one color into this image. So you see how that works. I'm going to copy this green, select this and change that background color to green. All right, we don't want everything looking green, so I'm just going to copy this, select all of these other shapes, and what we're going to do is you can either right click and do paste to replace, or you can use the shortcut Command plus Shift plus letter arrow for rat or rabbit, press and it replaces everything. Now that we have this, we can go into the color and find a different shade of colors to use. Maybe try yellow, because obviously that's my brand. All right, and for the other ones we can try other colors. You know, just have any color of your choice. If you just want to show that the image doesn't have a background, then you can do this. Now that we have this, we are already done with this design. We have the footer section, which is over here. You can include the number of charts by selecting one of these, bring it closer and then type in the number. If I type in 3, 4, you see it enlarges. So that's basically what you want to do for this chart. Now all of these are responsive, so if I'm to include, like if you click on the more icon at the top here, the charts on your phone will switch to one side, they will move to the right a bit. All right, and you can do that. You can have a check mark here. Let's go into the iOS and see if we can find let's pick that from material design, checkboxes. Going to pick this one. Let's duplicate this. All right, paste that in and you see that it already formed. All right, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove, I'll detach this and break the first container, yes, so that we have it like this. I'll also break this one, not really. Let's break this one and see. Move it out and break it. Let's see what happens. Okay, detach that, select everything, right click, frame selection. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the black, because on WhatsApp we have it all rounded. So I'm going to round this completely and give it a color for now. On WhatsApp, the default state is going to be gray, and then when you tap on it, it becomes green. So this is going to be green. So this color, the background. So I'm going to pick this and paste that in there, and then this is going to be white. So I'm just going to type in FFFF into 6 places, and we have that. Now for the other one, like I said, it's going to be gray. So it's not going to have this. It's going to have this and a stroke. So I'm going to select this one, and then I would find I think this color. Let's use this, and we're going to test it out. Now, one thing you can do once you have these two instances is to select both of them, and then you can go up here to component, click component, and do create component set. Now once you do this, you can give this a title. Under property, just type in checkbox, and over here you can type in checkbox. Now select the true version, that is the active state. When you click on it and you've selected it, select it and press yes. Now what I want to do only works when you have 2 items. Once you have more than 2 items within your component, then this will not work. Now select the other state, which is like an inactive state, and type no, no, no. The up one, yes. Now what happens is, once you do this, it would give you a toggle. If I hold shift and move this out, or just copy it and paste it inside my file, you're going to see that we now have a toggle. So we can toggle on and toggle off this component, and that works really handy when you're working on a large file. Now with that, we can select this and just replace it. Now we have this, all right, and we can do some more, maybe put it in this too. We'll change that to the other state, all right, and we'll move that to the end. Okay, so that gray is not graying enough, so you can make that changes here. Whatever change you do would affect, even though they are 100, you can see as I'm changing this is affecting it. So we can just affect it here, and that's one of the good things with creating component. Now imagine we did not create a component with this shape, we would have to change the colors manually. Now with that, select the backgrounds of all 3 of them, and we're going to give them a background. However, for WhatsApp, the background runs from end to end. That's end to end. But in our case, we wouldn't have it running end to end. It should run end to end actually, but because of the way we've designed it, it's not running end to end. To fix that, it's pretty simple. All right, we can even do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this gray. I think it should be more lighter. Let's go up a bit. Let's leave it here so that you guys can see it. F9, F9, F9. Right, this is how it is on WhatsApp for the ones you select when they are active. If they are not active, then it would not have a background like this. So we're going to remove the background from this one. No, that was supposed to be white. Yes. Right, so it will look like this. Now to fix that stuff I was talking about, first let's remember our margin 20, and then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to allow it run end to end. I would type in and width 390. Remember our frame is 390. Position it centered aligned. All right, and then what I'm going to do now is select these dudes, and I would do a fill container. Now they fill up the container, and I will press enter on my keyboard, and in this I'm going to change that to 20.